Well, the energy firm INEOS wants to put that to the test and has offered to stage fracking drilling tests to assess the safety of this procedure. Joining me in the studio here is the director of INEOS, Tom Crotty. Good to see you, Tom. And Charles McAllister returns to On the Money. He's from UK Onshore Oil and Gas, and Max King is still with us. Tom, good to see you in the studio. This debate is really heating up, so to speak. Is the government going to lift that moratorium? What's your instinct?
My instinct is they'll be very unwilling, if I'm honest. But what we're trying to do is pick up from where we left off 5 years ago and say, let's do the science, let's do it properly. Then you make an informed decision.
So what are you offering to do? What is INEOS offering to do that isn't already happening?
We are offering to work with the government and its authorities to find the right site to do a proper, full test all the way through and say this can be done safely. Because we know it can. It's been done safely in the US every day of the week.
And that's not, that's not any light undertaking. That's millions, tens of millions of quid Correct. You're offering to put on the table.
Correct. Without
knowing whether or not you're going to actually be able to do this for commercial gain.
Correct, absolutely. But we feel if now is not the right time, when is the right time to do this? We actually need this gas. We need UK gas because why aren't we taking the UK exchequer with that money? Why are we giving that money to somebody else? Because we're importing 50% of our gas now.
Charles, you're from UK Onshore Oil and Gas. You want fracking to happen. Do you really think it's going to happen? Various government ministers, cabinet ministers, they got their heels dug in. They're saying no.
Yeah, I think the case for shale gas development in the UK is overwhelming for geopolitical, environmental and economic reasons. And if we look back at the history, we're 170 years old as an industry. During the Second World War, we drilled 400 wells in the UK. There were similar swells and activity during the Gulf War, Suez Crisis, oil embargo. If my predecessors 3-4 generations ago could deliver that amazing feat in 1942, we can damn well deliver.
This is not Texas. This is not South Dakota. We're much more crowded. It causes earthquakes.
Yeah, OK, so let's go land use first. 80% of the population live on 7% of the land, so there is room for development. This argument that we shouldn't develop shale because it will industrialise the countryside is absolutely nonsensical. The land use from shale, in terms of delivering kilowatt hours per kilometre squared per year, best technology the UK has at its disposal right now. To give you an example, a shale gas pad is roughly the size of Parliament Square. In London, to generate the same amount of energy from a wind farm, you would need a land area 10 times the size of Hyde Park. Solar farm, 6 times the size of Hyde Park. And
water supplies.
Water supplies.
So a lot of people concerned about that. It undermines, it pierces aquifers and means that all supplies are unsafe.
OK, so again...
What water supplies are unsafe?
What I always say to this is, if anyone wants to talk about this, describe what part of the regulations facilitate that process. I've never had a good answer to that. The UK regulations are unbelievably strong. In terms of how much water we would use, a report done by the Institute of Directors said even at full pelt, we would use about 1% of what agriculture and industry use in any 1 year. And I mean, look at the north of England. It's not exactly shy of rain. There's quite a lot of water in the north of England.
It's not so much about the actual supply of water. It's about water supplies themselves becoming contaminated.
OK, so again, look at the regulations. The Infrastructure Act bans fracking shallower than a kilometre. That's fine with us because the Bolan Shale is 2 kilometres deep. Again, what part of the regulations do people think are inferior? What part facilitates that? What is the process? What's the pathway and what's the receptor to deliver that? No, I've never had a good answer to that.
I'm going to come to you in a moment, Max, if I may. I just want to go back to you, Tom. Yeah. This water supply issue, not the amount of water, but the purity of water, the contamination of water. Because quite a lot of the journalism, a lot of the documentaries that you would say are alarmist, but have been very, very widely watched, they focus on that issue, don't they?
They do, and some of them have been proved to be actually not just alarmist, but wrong and false and invented. So the guy lighting his tap, forget it. That was piped gas put through that tap. The reality is the only time this ever occurred in the very early days without proper regulation was because people were putting wastewater back down into holes. We're not allowed to do that. We have a wastewater directive in this country. Would not allow us to do that. It will not happen here. And, that piece is absolutely guaranteed.
Max, you haven't got a particular dog in this fight. Obviously, you're really interested in the economy and investment and so on. We've got 2 people from the fracking industry here, directly and indirectly, with respect to them. What do you think is going to happen? Will the government buckle?
Well, the government's got a simple choice. We can either import our gas from Russia and thereby finance Putin's war economy, or we can produce it ourselves. And even if we think that we're importing gas from North America or Qatar or wherever, we are diverting supplies which to ourselves, which could otherwise go to people who then will have to import their gas from Russia. So I think there's absolutely no question. I think the opponents of fracking are Putin's useful idiots, and they should really face up to the geopolitical realities. We have to reduce dependence around the world on gas from Russia.
But, Charles, you have got a PR mountain to climb, if I may be so bold as to point that out. There are many younger voters in particular that the Tories want to go after. They want to promote themselves as the nice party. Yep. There's a big green environmental lobby within the Conservative Party themselves, quite close to the Prime Minister. How are you going to overcome all that?
Hard work. I mean, I think that the case, again, if we look at this, the case for shale gas is in one word, logical. And I think most pragmatic people will see that. Again, if people want to discuss this, companies like INEOS and others I represent, we do public information days when there's a proposed site. Come and talk to us, come and find out about it. I think if you take a rational, realistic view, you will see the case. I want to deal with people who see sense, talk sense, make sense.
Tom, INEOS, big name. Quadrilla, your rival colleague have in the fracking industry. Both you guys are putting all your lobbying weight behind this. You're trying really hard to roll this boulder up a hill, if you want. Let me put it to you that the government is not going to bend. They are not going to let you do this. What are the implications?
I think the implications for the UK economy are poor, because basically we will go on importing more and more of our gas, bringing it from halfway across the world, which environmentally doesn't make any sense when it's under our feet, and pushing our money into other governments' pockets. So that's a big implication for the UK economy, and energy security is a big, big issue for us right now.
What could the UK fracking industry look like if you had your way?
I think if we had our way, I mean, we don't know the end story because we haven't been allowed to do it properly. Yeah. If we're allowed to do it, we believe the UK industry could have the potential. There's enough gas down there equivalent to another North Sea. That's a best-case scenario. But if that's the possibility, why on earth aren't we exploring that possibility?
Charles, how can you... I mean, we're a Labour on this. You guys are lobbying right across the political spectrum. I see Keir Starmer sort of slightly less vociferously against fracking than he used to be, even though the Parliamentary Labour Party is almost universally opposed. There are some red wall Labour MPs who back it, Graham Stringer, for instance, and some others. But are you getting any support from Labour behind the scenes?
Well, look, I think there are some pragmatic people within the Labour Party who do get this. In terms of support, are we getting any? No, is the quick and short answer. But I think in time they will see the case again because of the logic, because of the case for this. I think hopefully they will come round to it, but we're very happy to engage with Labour.
Well, thanks a lot for that discussion. We had Tom Crotty of INEOS. Thanks a lot for coming in the studio. Charles McAllister, of course, of Onshore Oil and Gas UK. Thanks. Max King is going to stay with us.